Welcome back. This is Ms. Zizi. Today we are focusing on cassava farming from Embu County in a place called Kamarua Farm. Cassava is a starchy root vegetable that can serve as a major source of carbohydrates and contains other key nutrients.
The tuber is seen from underground. The vegetable you pick from the top leaves, the green leaves that are the top. Those are the ones you pick. Because if you pick the old ones, they are not very palatable. But the young ones at the top are the ones you pick and cut and fry. Go try it. You'll never fail to come back again.
Cassava has many benefits. Research shows that it can take care of your skin, hair, and health. Aldamuga shares with us more on that.
From my own learning, cassava is known to mitigate things like diabetes. It is also good for men because it increases the potential for making babies. I know I can only say that as an elder. I don't want to go beyond there. Furthermore, it is a crop which is very rich in calories, and it ends up for people who have grown thin out of sickness or something like that. To replace energy and strength is a very, very good crop. I have been on cassava for now I can count for 46 years since I started farming on this farm. There isn't a single year that I have had no crop of cassava.
Eldamugo advises more farmers to venture in cassava farming as the demand will keep rising due to the public awareness of the nutritional value of cassava.
The market for cassava is increasing, and we might not eat it here because we have other choices, but we can grow it for other people. But for those people who know the nutritional value, I would advise them to continue eating cassava because it's a very high value. Besides that, marketers and supermarkets have started now processing cassava flour. And if you go to supermarkets now, I believe you will find cassava flour. So, for commercial purposes, I would encourage people who have not tried to go that direction. In fact, I'm considering removing part of my bananas to put cassava so that I can have more than what I have now.
Besides benefiting human beings, cassava can also increase milk production in dairy cows if used in moderation.
All you need to do is make sure that you don't give it excessively. You give it in portions that are not excessive. That's one. When you do that, your milk production increases extremely well. Then the other thing it does is, if you look at this foliage, the leaves fall and they make your soil become more and more fertile because the foliage creates some kind of a cover on the soil, making sure that the soil remains good soil.
Well, there is a narrative that goes that cassava is a poor man's crop. Does Elder Mugo agrees or not?
I totally disagree. The truth is, it is not a poor man's crop. It is a rich man's crop. The rich people who have now understood the value for cassava are going for it. And we are trying to turn around that feeling. Even through our cultural education programs, we are looking at the value systems and the valuable crops that we must bring back. So I am urging people to stop that kind of a feeling that it is a poor man's crop. It is not. Actually, the person who takes cassava is the wise one and the richer person. Those who do not respect cassava, I pity them.
Food security is a national matter, but what are the options we have as a country to address the issues? A lot is being said and little being done. Elder Mugo advises the county agricultural officials to work with the farmers in encouraging them to grow this type of crops.
In counties where the climate allows growing of cassava, I would advise those counties and especially the officers in charge of agriculture, to go full blast and encourage the growing of cassava besides other root crops. As you walked through my farm, you saw the yam, you also saw the sweet potato, you also saw the arrowroot. Those are the crops that now can mitigate food insecurity. Because once we don't do that and we major only on maize and beans, we are gone. So my advice is go root crops. Even as much as you would want to do the grain crops, alternate them with the root crops. They are more lasting, there is more assurance, there is more dependability, and you do not have to work on pesticides and insecticides to sustain those crops.
There is a notion that goes around claiming that some cassava's varieties are poisonous. What does Elder Mugo has to say about that?
I know there is a type of cassava which is poisonous, but I have never interacted with it. All the cassava I have grown here, I've used here, is not poisonous. And I give this to my children, to my grandchildren. They carry it to Nairobi, all over. There has not been any complaint.
So far, so good. I believe you've learned quite a lot. Personally, I didn't know that these leaves can actually be used as a vegetable stew for our starchy food, such as the ugali and the rice and the chapatis. And there is still a lot more in store for you, such as how to harvest the cassava. Also, Elder Mugo will be telling us why this particular part of his farm has not been attended to in terms of weeding. We will be learning about the negative effects or the side effects of really not taking care of our farms where weeding is concerned. Let us now look at the farm as we identify the mature crop which will be harvested. So Elder Mugo, maybe you can tell us, for you not weeding this particular part of the farm, what are the implications?
One, the implications are not good for not weeding, but for us, we weeded, and you can see we removed the suckers and cut this. That's what is appearing like weeds. Because when the rains are a lot, when you cut the suckers, they germinate. So you have to come and remove them again. This is what I'm telling you. Anybody requiring the seed would find seed in this, because that's what you carry. However, the rains have been very excessive, and the kind of weeds we removed earlier were very big. But because of the consistency of the rains, the weeds keep coming back. So we will come back again and weed again and remove the weeds. If you don't, then the weeds will affect the size of the tuber, and your tuber will be smaller, and you want big tuber. So we will have to come back again and remove these perennial or superficial weeds which have come later after we had weeded earlier. And most of what you can see are the suckers that we cut to allow the cassava to grow strong and to have strong tubers.
So weeding regularly is advisable?
It's advisable, very, very advisable.
Okay. So amongst these plants that we are seeing here, which among them would you say is ready for harvesting? And maybe if you can also show us how to go about harvesting.
You come around, I'll show you the part where the cassava is ready for harvesting. We had harvested here. We just required to pull up one, and we had enough. So I'll ask Mr. Ireri to pull that up so that you can see. There are two things you can do. One, if you want only one piece, you can come and dig around it and then select the tuber that you want. But if you want to remove the whole piece, you just pull it up and then you carry the lot that comes from there. You immediately return the cut. So you can see how big they are. And it's because you don't want so much, you just remove the ones that you want and then you leave the rest. If you cut the rest, then it will rot. So you have to be careful to get just what you need. Now you can see the size of that tuber. What that tells you is that that soil is very good. And the tuber is growing towards where the nutrients are.
So he's the person that helps you with the farm activities?
Yes, this is my helper in the farm, and he does a lot for me. All that you have seen, we have been doing together.
So the tuber is actually very far off or very deep?
It can go to as far as 4 to 3 feet. It can be short, it can be long. And it is tuber on top of tuber. You can get another one there.
And actually this is not the entire tuber, I can
No.
see. He has cut half of it.
There is still another one. So that stem itself can give you nearly a whole bag.
And if you are to sell, you said you don't sell your tubers.
I do. Like the last crop that was here, we sold. But we only sell when we have had enough. Yeah. For
and
our own
how much do you sell? What is the market price for the cassava as you speak?
Let me tell you, we even don't go to the market to take the cassava. It is the middlemen who come to look for cassava. Like now, I have been bothered by a few. When will my cassava be ready? When do you want to come and pick it? I want to come and pick cassava from you. So it depends on me. Now the reason for removing that is if you leave it there, it will make the rest rot.
Thank you so much for keeping it KTN Farmers TV. That brings us to the end of our show today on Mizizi. I believe that you have learned quite a lot where cassava farming is concerned. As always, we love to hear from you because your feedback helps us to serve you better. Talk to us, write to us through the number that is on your screen. Until next time, it's bye-bye from us.